So, welcome to this session. We are on the book, we are studying the book Beyond the Mind. This is the third session in this particular book study. We had talked about, so we are on page 6. This box item, I think we had read, but I thought we will discuss it more today. So, let's read it together. Affirm, I am an instrument of God. God is the source of all light, love, and power. God's blessing is flowing through me. My spiritual teacher's blessing is flowing through me with thanks and in full faith. So, before this, I think we were talking about Parabrahman and or Brahman and having three aspects: the divine light aspect, the divine love aspect, the divine power aspect. And the last time, if you remember, we had done there's a chant by Master Choa on, the mantra Om Namo Parabrahman Om. So we had done that chant a few times. I thought let's do it again today, just so as to drive that point home. Master has somewhere talked about chanting this 21 times. We won't do it 21 times. Let's just do it maybe 3 times. But before that, may I suggest you scan your crown chakra, scan your spiritual cord, scan your aura, maybe the inner aura, and scan for spiritual energy in the inner aura. Okay, then let's do this together. Just join me in chanting. What is the mantra? Om Namo Parabrahman Om. Om Namo Parabrahman Om. Om Namo Parabrahman Om. Om Namo Parabrahman Om. Be aware of your inner state. Slowly, gently, if you want, open your eyes, or even without opening your eyes, just scan your crown chakra again. Compare with the size that you had found before the three chants. Scan your spiritual cord. Scan the spiritual energy in the inner aura. Would you like to share your what have you found? Is there a
So it's more than double.
more than double? Yeah. So
Yes.
this is a very powerful spiritual mantra, and Master has somewhere, maybe in this book we will come through it or come across it, or somewhere he's talked about it, doing it 21 times. If you find 21 times too strong, maybe just do it less times, but you can incorporate it in your daily practice. All right. Okay, now let's pay attention to the words here. I am an instrument of God. So why instrument? I think Master has said instrument of God because somewhere else he says child of God, but here he's saying instrument of God. I think he wants to remind us, he meaning Master Choa wants to remind us that the purpose of evolution is not just to be in a state of bliss, but the purpose of evolution, the purpose of spiritual development is to serve. As we evolve, as we our capabilities increase, we now have a greater capacity to serve. Serve whom? Serve the the world, serve the fellow humans. You see, the greatest illusion, I think the biggest illusion and many of the problems in the current, scenario in the world can be traced to this illusion. Either people think that life is purposeless, or they think that the purpose is just to enjoy, to make money, to accumulate resources, to become powerful, rule over other people, etc., etc. Once we can keep reminding ourselves, once we know and we keep reminding ourselves, why are we born? Why are we living? Why have we been given life? Why has God created this, fantastic planet and given us the opportunity to, be born here, to live here, to evolve using these experiences, to develop spiritually using these resources and experiences? I think that is when we will come out of the situation that we find in the world. Because if you really introspect on all the current problems you see in the world, it is because we have forgotten who we are. Why are we living? So it's these affirmations like these will help us, help to remind us who we are and why are we living. So let's read it again. I am an instrument of God. God is the source of all light, love, and power. So that is, God is the source of everything in this universe. God's blessing is flowing through me. My spiritual teacher's blessing is flowing through me. It's really the spiritual teacher is the, Master uses the term spiritual transformer. He is transforming the energy from God because, we cannot directly, we are not in a position, or we are not capable or refined enough to directly take energies from God. So it comes to us through, it is filtered, or let us say transformed by our spiritual teacher, and then it comes down to us with thanks and in full faith. So that is why also necessary to be very, very important to be grateful in everything. This is something to learn from Master Choa. Everything he would do, he would start with a prayer, an invocation, and end with giving thanks. So that is something to learn from. All right, let's move on. So a new section begins, soul. And there is some text here. The soul is the gateway to heaven within you. Just think about it. The soul is the gateway to heaven within you. So, soul, of course, I think we understand. Now, when Master says within you, what is Master saying? Because sometimes when he says you, he means you, the higher soul. But I think here, when he says you, he is referring to you as the person, as the personality, the incarnated soul and its bodies. The true you, of course, is the higher soul. And when he says heaven, I think what he's talking about is that state of perpetual bliss, which we call a heavenly state, and which we seem to attain once we attain union or oneness or yoga with the higher soul. So you, the incarnated soul, uniting, if it wants to find heaven, essentially it happens by achieving union or oneness with the higher soul. So the higher soul is inside us, it is not outside us. Hence, heaven is also inside us, not outside us. So I think one can summarize this by saying that if you want to be happy, if you want to be in a state of bliss, the source is available inside. Look inwards, don't look outwards. You see, the problem is that we are always trying to find happiness outside. If I get this car, if I get this house, if I marry this person, if I have this, if I do this, if my job becomes this, if my business achieves so much profit, this. So we are always trying to find happiness and bliss outside. It is inside us. It is not outside us. That is what I think Master is trying to tell us here. Okay, let's flip the page. Page 9. Start from the top. You are a soul with a physical body, not a physical body with a soul. I don't know if you have ever come across this particular statement. When I came across this many, many years ago, when I got into the school of pranic healing and Arhatic yoga, I found it had a transformational effect on me, because I found that this statement is very, very powerful. You are aware of the soul affirmation as given by Master Choa. So, this is like a simplified summary of the soul affirmation. And I found that I could relate to it. I was able to relate to it, because you see what happens is sometimes spiritual energy is very good, but we can sometimes relate नहीं कर पाते उसको, अपने जीवन से नहीं जोड़ पाते. लेकिन this statement I could connect to, and because I could connect to this, I found it very powerful. So I keep reminding myself, or I used to keep reminding myself, I am not the body with a soul, I am the soul which is using the body. Something like that. So I and my suggestion to you is, if you find this useful, try to remind yourself of this in every life situation. Then you will find that your responses will start changing. The way you react, the way you respond in that life situation will start changing. Because when we think of ourselves as the body, we respond differently. जब हम सोचते हैं कि हम शरीर हैं, तो हमारा जो एक्शन होता है किसी भी सिचुएशन में, वो फर्क होता है. लेकिन जब हम when you say, okay, I am the soul, I am just using the body, then it is different. Try it and see. I mean, sometimes these things, I I don't know if it's my limitation in being able to explain to you, but sometimes these are hard to explain. But just try it. It's very simple. Maybe on your phone, I'm sure you have a reminder app. Put it on the reminder app. I am a soul with a physical body, not a physical body with a soul. And let it play to you once or twice or a few times a day, every day, so that it starts going into your subconscious. And then see how your response to the same situations, the same life situations will change. All right, let's move on. Sutra number 2. The soul is sexless. It is both yang and yin. So, I think all of us would probably be able to understand this quite easily. The gender, the sex, male, female, that is of the bodies, not of the soul. Soul has no gender. And Master says it is both yang and yin. Now, yin and yang, these come from the Chinese spiritual schools. They are referring to the complementing energies that construct the entire world. The entire universe, according to the Chinese system in their metaphysics. These two complementing but opposite energies are what are creating the universe. In the Indian system, we also have this concept of the Holy Mother and the Holy Father. So like Lakshmi ji, the consort of Vishnu, Parvati ji, Shiv ji, Saraswati ji, Brahma ji. So they are both gods. They are, so for example, Lakshmi and Vishnu, both are the love aspects of the of Supreme God, but they have slightly different types of energies. One can put it like that. So what Master is saying is, the soul is not yang, the soul is not yin. It is both yang and yin. Just understand like that. Both, it has both the Divine Father and the Divine Mother aspects. All right. The soul is inside and outside the body. So this is very interesting. How can something be both inside and outside? But as pranic healers, it should not be difficult for us to understand this, because when we talk about the energy body is inside the physical body and outside. Master gives a very good example. He says, think of a bucket of water and put a sponge in it. Now the water is inside the sponge, outside the sponge. Yes, I hope you remember that. So if you look at this diagram, the physical body and all the subtle bodies, the different subtle bodies, the etheric body, the astral body, the mental body, and the the soul body, or what we call the causal body, that they are all interpenetrating the physical body. They are inside the physical body, they are outside the physical body. The soul actually, so the more subtle the particles of that body, the more it spreads out, the more it radiates out, the more space it seems to occupy. But all of them are concentric. Concentric meaning they have the same center. They interpenetrate each other. Okay? All right, let's move on. Do not mistake purity with perfection. The higher soul is pure, but not perfect. Now, this again is something that I only sort of I learned in the pranic healing school or from Master Choa. Before that, my understanding of Indian philosophy or Indian spirituality was that the soul is untouched by its experiences. But when Master Choa explained this, he said, no, yes, it is pure, but it is imperfect. The soul doesn't have sufficient wisdom. To attain that wisdom, it comes down, takes life. It's like a newborn child. The newborn child, if you see morally, is very pure, but it is imperfect. It has no abilities. It depends on other people. Without other people, it cannot even survive. Yeah. So this is actually a very good answer to the question, why are we incarnated? You see, because what when somebody says that you, the soul, have taken a body and then you will leave the body. Your purpose of your evolution is to eventually go out of the cycle of birth and death. सुना आपने ना मोक्ष और nirvana is that state you come into life and then you escape life. So then the point is, if the starting point and the end points are the same, why go through all this rigmarole? So this is what Master has explained, that the beginning state and the end state are not the same. In the beginning state and in the end state, the same soul, has the same degree of purity. But the in the starting stage, it is imperfect. Why we need to go through this rigmarole of life and death and experiences and lessons and karma and all that is because when you come to the stage of nirvana or moksha, you have attained a certain degree of perfection. How? That is where the experiences, the law of karma, all that comes in. That is where the learning of lessons comes in. There's a very nice story, short story. I'll try to do it very, very quickly. There were two friends, very, very close friends. They used to live in a village. Now, one of those persons, let's call him Rama. So, Ram left the village, studied further, went to the city, studied further, started a business, became very successful. Sometimes business was good, sometimes business was not good. Anyway, he became fairly rich, prosperous, successful. And then in his old age, he comes back to the village. And of course, he wants to meet his dear childhood friend. Let's call him Shyam. So Ram goes looking for Shyam, comes to know that he is sitting in a tree on his, khatia, the jute bed. He's sort of relaxing. He has a chilam and he is just relaxing. So they both friends meet and they are very happy to meet each other. And then they ask, okay, what has happened to you between the last time we met and now? So Ram tells him about his life's story. And now Shyam asks him that, why have you come back to the village? He says, now I want to relax and enjoy life, take life easy. And then Shyam says, but that is what I have been doing. Now, it may seem that their starting point, of course, was the same. Even their end point seems to be the same. I mean, Ram has also come back here to relax and enjoy and, not do much work. And this guy has always been not doing much work. But there is a difference. The experiences Ram has gone through, the lessons he has learned, the successes, failures, etc., etc., the tests that he has gone through, Shyam has not gone through. The guy who stayed back in the village and just had a easy life, he has not gone through that. There is a difference between them. We want to be like Ram. We want to experience life. We want to live life in a manner where it is helping us learn. It is helping us, giving us life, the principles, the spiritual knowledge, and so on. All that we want to accumulate. No, and in the Indian system, there is the concept of realization. It's not just academic knowing, like you read a book and you know. No, you have to live that. When you live that, that is when we say that it is realized. Realized meaning, in Hindi the word is अनुभूति कि मुझे इस ज्ञान की अनुभूति हो गई. Or if you just look at the word realize, it's based on real. So this knowledge becomes real and not just theoretical. Yeah. Okay, let's move forward. The physical body, together with the emotional body and mental body, when taken together, is called the mind. These vehicles have a consciousness of their own. Weaknesses occur when the soul loses control over. I'm reading the next sutra also. When the soul loses control over the physical, emotional, and mental bodies. I hope the first sutra you already know. If you have done the advanced pranic healing class, then in one of the later chapters in the book where Master talks about instructive healing and so on, he has explained this concept. So if you are not fully aware of this, may I suggest? I think it is around page 290 or page 291 in the advanced pranic healing book. Yeah. The physical body, all these bodies, they have consciousness. But, thing to realize is that the consciousness is due to the presence of the soul. It is the soul energy which animates them, gives them consciousness. Otherwise, they are just particles. They are just matter, they of different variety. Now, the other thing to note here is that the soul may or may not have control over them. Because once they get animated, the particles of these bodies, they have their own consciousness. Now, what we want ideally is that this consciousness of the bodies is controlled by the soul, what we call self mastery or soul mastery. But unfortunately, that is in ordinary people not there. And the first goal of Arhatic Yoga is to bring the bodies under the control of the soul. So, if you are aware, there are 5 pillars of Arhatic Yoga. Pillar number 2, purification. That is that is what helps us achieve this. Achieve what? The control of the soul over the bodies. Okay, let's move on. The soul will harvest the consequences of its actions, both positive and negative. Actions can be generated by thought, emotion, speech, and physical activities or acts of omission. So, a lot of useful knowledge here. Essentially, Master is referring here to the law of karma. Law of karma is what? Jaisa action, vaisa consequence. What is the seed you plant? Such will be the fruit you will get. Yeah. So harvest means, you plant the seed, what you get in return, that is what you harvest. So the soul will have to suffer the consequences, or will have to endure, or will face the consequences. But again, you have to remember, it is not the soul. Soul will learn the lessons, but the pain, the difficulties, etc., those are faced by the bodies. Of course, in the end, the soul is in control. But really, the pain is felt in the bodies. The pain is felt in the vehicles, not by the soul. Anyway, that's a minor point. The thing to remember here is that even inaction is a kind of karma. When there is a need for action, when action is required and we decide not to act, then that is also karma. That will also have consequences. You see, all of us, I think, none of us are sannyasis. We are all in grahast ashram, what in India is called the grahast ashram in the Indian system, or in family life. Let's just say family life. We are in material life. So, karma yoga is very, very important for us. One of the things we should try to understand in as much detail as possible or as thoroughly as possible is the law of karma. Yeah, I would really strongly suggest that please give time and effort and to learn the law of karma. Of course, Gyan Yog, Bhakti Yog, Raj Yog, all that also important. But since we are in family life, we cannot be sannyasis. We cannot be ascetics. We cannot say, oh, I give up this world. No, that is not. I mean, running away from your responsibilities is not the answer. Correct? All right, let's move forward. Yeah, we have time. Soul energy makes the body whole. When a person is born, the higher soul is exhaling. Exhaling, when you let out the breath. When a person is old and dying, the higher soul is inhaling, withdrawing soul energy, which we call life. When there is no soul energy, the body dies. So, this is what I think we talked about a little while ago also, how we take birth. When we take birth, the soul energy comes down and it animates the bodies. शरीरों जो अलग अलग कोशिकाएं हैं या जो शरीर हैं उनको एनिमेट या जीवित करती है ना, उनको जीवन प्रदान करती है. Because otherwise, by themselves, those bodies have no life. It is the soul energy which will come down and which will give them life. Without the soul energy, the bodies are just collection of matter, physical matter, etheric matter, astral, mental, etc., etc. The wholeness, the completeness, the unitedness, the coherence, जो एकजुटता आती है अलग अलग शरीरों की और हर शरीर के अंदर अलग अलग हिस्सों की, that comes because of the soul energy. So in the Hindi language, we will call that being a jiva, or what Master calls a personality or an incarnated soul. It's the presence of the soul energy. Now, when the soul energy departs, when it leaves the bodies, what we call death of the bodies will occur. And if you have gone into, if for example, the soul book, the Achieving Oneness with the Higher Soul book, that has explained these processes in great amount of detail. So if you have curiosity, then I suggest that you read that book. Yeah, I think it's a good place to end here for today.